This is He Who Moans, Doctor Who reviews. I only complain because I like Doctor Who and I care. And I overanalyze too much because, whatever, it's just my opinion. So, yeah, I threw a bit of a strop last week. Was out of proportion and out of line? Nah, probably. I'll at least give you guys that liked it that much. I was probably just frustrated because something I was really anticipating failed to excite me in any way. I mean, yeah, maybe I went in expecting one thing, got another, and was disappointed by that. Is that close-minded of me? Well, kinda, but what I know is what I saw I didn't like. But I don't regret my last one, even if I was a bit more irate than I should have been, but all I do is try and explain, not just to you, but to me as well, what I think is the reason why I felt what I felt in the moment of watching it, and that's all really. I never pretend these videos are anything other than that, and of course I can't speak for everyone. And now that 7 days have passed, Kill the Moon's just sort of melted into this grey, joyless blob at the centre of my brain, and I'm just going to try and forget about it and go into this next one lesson relearnt about hype and trying to retain balanced levels of optimism and pessimism. Okay, no, that's a lie, I'm not even going to pretend. My pessimism meter is kind of through the fucking roof at this point. Oh my god. It feels weird saying this, but I loved it. Oh my god, yes, reality didn't explode. I can love Doctor Who. It's not dangerous to the fabric of existence. I was afraid it was. Okay, I also love Day of the Doctor as well, every second of it. I've been lying to you all this time. Almost got you. But I did thoroughly enjoy this one. Really, I want to hug this episode. It was great. Mummy on the Orient Express works incredibly well. Okay, contain the fanboy, deconstructive bollocks time. It's a sci-fi pastiche, obviously, of Murder on the Orient Express, and Matheson's managed to retain the feel of an Agatha Christie mystery through his use of dialogue. Unlike last week's one where Clara, the astronaut lady, and Courtney were basically a soundboard for a circular argument, here the dialogue as the Doctor and Clara were drawing all the facts of the mystery together, it was fluid, it was believable, and most importantly, it never felt patronising once. There's no overbearing flabby speeches here, and when there are speeches, they're either plot or character focused and feel necessary. And it allows for some stellar performances from our mains and guest stars. I felt that Daisy Beaumont's Maisie and her mother could have had a bit more time together. As is, her mother dies about 66 seconds in, and it doesn't exactly hold much impact. We might have felt Daisy's trauma a bit better if we actually had any dialogue between the two of them for a little backstory maybe, because as is, Maisie kind of feels a bit underdeveloped. But, see, I remember her name this week, and everything about her character's place in the story makes sense, just she's very much a victim of what I'm tentatively dubbing 45-minute syndrome. Really, is making each episode 60 minutes too much to ask? We probably wouldn't be complaining as much if all the elements at play actually had room to breathe. Gus as well, his motivations were incredibly unclear and strange, but again, 45-minute syndrome, and I didn't get too bogged down on it. In fact, aside from one massive thing, which I'll get to, if this had been an hour, I'd probably be looking at one of my favourite episodes of New Who. I'm not even kidding here, and no, it's not because my expectations got so low that I'd be happy with anything. I really enjoyed this one. The direction choices in this as well work really well. I just loved the counter. Having it there in real time as the danger plays out gets you more on the edge of your seat. Yeah, it pretty much ensures that this character will die, so you'd think that it'd kill the tension, but you know that the next bit of the puzzle will probably come out as a result, and you start anticipating that maybe someone's about to find a way to ward off the mummy. And it means that the danger feels real, but it also has a reason to play out because you're going, come on, another bit of the puzzle's going to come out. Doctor, you've only got 10 seconds left. It playing out in real time amps up the suspense. It always bugs me in shows and movies when there's a counter for like a bomb or something, and while it's supposed to be counting down, there's like an 8-minute conversation over what's meant to be 90 seconds. I'm looking at you, Saw franchise, but the counter works so well with the dialogue here. Yeah, I know, tiny nerdy detail, but I think it's really impressive, damn it. Though I will admit it's not really a thoroughly original idea on the whole. It's basically Voyage of the Damned, but on a different space vehicle. Yeah, comparisons to Voyage of the Damned, fairly stunning. Famous Earth vehicle replicated in space by a shadowy and mysterious character using it for his or its own purposes, with a puppet monster hunting and killing people. But I guess what is Doctor Who if not a repatchworking of familiar ideas updated to the now? And this one's a very different type of story. What Mummy on the Orient Express does is an enticing character-driven mystery. It doesn't indulge in overcomplicated timey-wimey like Moffat does. It doesn't go over the top and comic booky like Russell did. It's a tight, self-contained sci-fi murder mystery that knows its limits and doesn't indulge in the sort of unnecessary quirks and tropes that Russell and Moffat do, which bug me. It's a bit short on time to make full use of all its assets at its disposal, but simple ideas are often the best ones, and it makes all the use of its idea that it can, and it doesn't feel like it wastes any time, which is a trademark of Moffat and Russell. I mean, yeah, it does fall into my nothing new here category, but I haven't seen New Who play out this particular formula with much degree of success before, let alone this degree of success. Example, pulling back the veil revealing they're all being tested by Gus. It's an old trick that Doctor Who's done loads, but it worked really well here because it was another layer of this mystery coming away. The episode ramps up its reveals with every part of the plot coming away bit by bit, and by the end when everything comes out and makes sense, it's really satisfying, and it has the same feel of an Agatha Christie novel. It could have gone slightly further into explanations of Gus's motivations, but yeah, 45-minute syndrome, but I still really enjoyed it. Matheson went for a tried and tested formula, moulded his writing style to it, and really pulled it off. 45-minute syndrome is still a huge problem though. I didn't like the end of the episode where basically the Doctor explains how we got out of that one on a beach. I felt that was a bit cheap, but the following speech explaining how he didn't really know what he was doing and was just making things up as he went along was a great speech and really good for building this Doctor's character. Because he's not perfect, he's not Space Jesus, he's just good at thinking on his feet. Really, this script was so much fun. I missed having this much fun watching the Doctor put pieces of a mystery together instead of just waving his sonic screwdriver at it until it stops. My one big complaint, and it's a huge one, Christ, this week's score. They seem to be trying to use the score to downplay the horror of the Mummy, because it sounds like they're trying to score a Chris Columbus Harry Potter movie. I can't have been the only one watching that going, why? This is not, what the hell is that thing music. This is, oh no, I forgot to bring my Mandrake route to potions class music. I hate to dump on Murray Gold because he has done some stellar work for Doctor Who before, and most of my complaints on music are more in how it's used than what it is, but I still think maybe we should have a rotating group of composers, maybe? Would that be totally unfair? Big Finish have got some incredibly talented people working for them, why not give them a shot? Just, tone doesn't seem to be Murray's favourite word. It doesn't kill it too much, this script's far too good for that, but yeah, if anything should have been changed, it's definitely this. Another thing that I just need to mention, okay, Clara this week, I still don't like her character. The potential for that ship sailed a long time ago, but I appreciate the end of Kill the Moon a lot more now, if only for the fact that it's given Matheson the opportunity to do the only interesting thing that anyone's done with her so far, and this will probably be a controversial opinion for me to offer, since lots of people seem to dislike the last time aspect of the episode, and I did too, but I did feel it was appropriate. When we first had Clara introduced, basically she was a blank slate. She hadn't seemed to have had many events in her life that defined who she was. She hadn't been a character before she'd been introduced, if you see what I mean. The mark of a good character is one that you can imagine having lived an interesting life up until the point where you meet them in the story. That's probably why she worked better as Oswin or who she was in The Snowmen than the generic modern-day middle-class 20-something that we met in Bells of St. John, who you couldn't really imagine that much of a life for outside of the story, and if you could, it wasn't interesting. The term blank slate character gets thrown around a lot these days, but there's a word we used to use for blank slate character. Laziness. What's more interesting is a character that someone's put effort into crafting. I mean, I didn't like Rose that much, but she was a character. She was fully formed by about 20 minutes into episode 1. Clara, on the other hand, hasn't exactly had anything to work with up until this point. Here, though, the Doctor's been a dick and Clara's not going to put up with it anymore. She feels like he's running her round in circles and she's trying to come to terms with her feelings about him and what their relationship actually is. Bit sappy, I know, but hey, guess what, guys? That's a character arc at work, that is. Finally, she actually has what a character should have. Here, she's showing genuine concerns about what sort of relationship she actually has with the Doctor.
No, well, I mean, you know, you're going to come round for dinner or something, aren't you? Do you do that? Do you come round to people's houses for dinner?
Is he like a teacher, a boyfriend, a friend? What is the Doctor? This is an interesting thing for an assistant to be wondering, and it needed to happen since adventure stories have a thoroughly different dynamic nowadays to how they were in the 60s and 70s. For better or worse, this made Clara feel more human to me. I mean, I still don't like her character, but she needed something like this. Love this or hate this, doctors like Capaldi need an assistant to point out when they're being a douchebag. And Clara's actively doing that. She has a role now to keep the Doctor's ego in check. She's now active rather than passive. Before she was just nodding and going, "Yes, Doctor, let us go on an adventure thing," and go, "Whoosh, whoosh. Run, you clever boy. Isn't the Doctor amazing?" Here, though, it's ramped up the slight tricklings of her questioning the Doctor that we've had throughout the series so far, and while some of the stuff that she said on this front is kind of stupid, what it's done is given her character purpose, and it gives me as a viewer a reason to give a shit about what she has to say. I mean, I think lots of it's stupid, as I've pointed out before, but unlike before, this is a character saying these things. Please, people, run with this. Make her outspoken. I prefer you make her rational too, but make her active in the relationship. Look at Sarah Jane. Well, in season 11, not so much afterwards. Look at Ace. Hell, look at Donna. Really, this should have been Clara's thing right from the off. It's kind of too little too late on the Clara front, but yeah, we had a completion of a character arc. And I'm really glad that Jamie's doing next week's one too, so hopefully we can continue on Clara taking a more active role in the companion-doctor relationship, because the writing of her character felt far too half-arsed for far too long. Here, though, I could actually understand where she was coming from, what she was going through, and, like her or dislike her, she actually felt like a real person in this one. Jenna Coleman finally has material that she can prove herself as an actress with, and interestingly, it's called Mummy on the Orient Express. So, yeah, don't say that I'm not appreciative of what's in front of my face. Personally, I found Kill the Moon to be joyless and patronising. Mummy on the Orient Express, on the other hand, I thought was fun, exciting, full of humanity and life. More like this, please. So yeah, all in all, my favourite episode in years. Just the thing that the 12th Doctor Clara dynamic needed, and it's just fun. New blood is the way to go, Moffat. Run with this.